I am in Pasadena and it is after midnight, very early Monday morning, January 2nd, and behind me, these are the floats for tomorrow's Rose Parade. They are lined up, getting ready for the parade tomorrow. They will start the judging in a couple of hours. I was hoping to get here like right before they did the judging because they start turning on all the mechanics for the floats, but I might be here a little too early at midnight. Anyway, let's get started seeing these floats. This is a fun, free event that anyone can attend, and as you can see, lots of people do. Here's the last float to arrive. My gimbal had issues and it kept dropping my phone to the side, so I had to put it away and shoot handheld the rest of the night. This is the NASCAR float. It won Most Outstanding Depiction of National Treasures and Traditions. This float is interesting. I kept hearing people comment that the nose is on the forehead. You can see from this float that it's the branches on the trees are taken apart. Part of that is to drive it over here, and it's also under some trees, so I'm not sure that they can actually assemble it. Also, notice that all of the flowers on here are real flowers. They are not allowed to use any type of artificial material. Everything on these floats is real flowers, real flower petals, things like that. I love the sunflowers. I think they're just beautiful. And then also the details like the squirrel on the side of the trunk. That kind of detail is just really nice for these floats. They're also testing to make sure that the driver in the float can see ahead of him. Very important. This is the Shriners float with the beautiful hanging flowers and the children's sports theme. The rotary float has a beautiful, fantastical unicorn. This is a really popular float. Look at all of the people standing around it taking pictures. This beautiful float won the grand prize. It's made with 40,000 flowers. This float was sponsored by Donate Life America, a nonprofit that wants to increase organ, eye, and tissue donation. They had both organ donor recipients and living donors riding on the float during the parade, so I'm sure it had a very high emotional impact. This clever float won the Crown City Innovator for Most Outstanding Use of Imagination, Innovation, and Technology. I think I am missing something by just looking at the float. If it won for innovation and technology, then there has to be some type of unique motion or animation with this float. It's cool as is though. I really like the giant school supplies. The poles up here on this float are where people are going to be standing, and they have straps to hold them in place, so if the float jerks or stops or something unexpected happens, then the people on the float are still going to be safe. This Mutual of Omaha Wild Animal Kingdom float is a very cool float, but it is in a dark spot on the street, so I'm not getting as good of pictures of it as I would really like to get, but it's a pretty cool float. This float is called Be Inspired. Get it? Be inspired? I'm sorry, I crack myself up. Some people are still working on the float to make it perfect for the parade. This is the Lions Club float. They have got chairs with seat belts and poles to hold people onto the float. They also have penis flowers. Hey, no jokes about the penis flowers. They're beautiful, but they don't look real, do they? These irises are really beautiful. This gorgeous float is from the building industry of SoCal. It won for Most Outstanding Innovation in the Use of Floral and Non-Floral Materials. The tree falling on the girl is not the innovation it won for. All right, this float with the crazy cat looks like it is going to be a lot of fun. I really wish I could see that one with the gears here moving, and it looks like it's going to be a great float. I did capture the gears moving for, yeah, that was it, 2 seconds. It won the Bob Hope Humor Award for Most Whimsical and Amusing Float. The cat alone is whimsical and amusing. This flowerful float is from the city of Torrance. The Elks float is nice, but I wanted to show you how they use beans in their design. Again, no artificial materials can be used in these floats. This is the Louisiana float, a riverboat on the bayou. I think this might be a Rose Parade first. These are all potatoes. Now I know they all have to use natural ingredients, but this is the first time I've ever seen or heard of a potato wall on a float. But it looks great, doesn't it? It looks like a retaining wall. On this float, you can get a look at the inside. This float is the city of Burbank, my hometown. The float name is Adventure Awaits. That is coincidentally my personal 2023 theme. The Blue Diamond Almonds float was a very whimsical float. It won the Fantasy Award for Most Outstanding Display of Fantasy and Imagination. This is the Kiwanis float called Catching the Wave of Service. These two guys have had a long day and they're just chilling until the parade. This is the Kaiser Permanente float. It's kind of hard to tell now because this is a heart and it's laying down. It's going to lay up during it's going to come up during the parade, but it's a heart and it's got the heartbeat on it. I think that's really clever. The Trader Joe's float is actually 2 floats. The Headless Rider. Ooh. He'll have a head by tomorrow. This float is pretty incredible, but again, it's in a part of the road that's in the dark, so you can't really see it all that well. Someone's shining a light on it. Yeah, these guys are putting a flashlight on it so they can see it. It is a super cool float. A neighborhood family is selling some hot chocolate. My fingers are so cold. Next year I'll have to remember to bring some gloves, but this hot chocolate really hits the spot. This is the Cal Poly float, which won the Extraordinaire Award for a most extraordinary float. Not surprisingly, I have already spilled the hot chocolate down the front of my top. I don't know if you can see it. It's dark, so I'm probably good, but yeah, I'm taking photos and trying to drink hot chocolate at the same time. It doesn't work, but I think hot chocolate is more important. So those are the Rose Parade floats. By the time you see this, the winners are going to have been announced. The parade will be over. But as of right now, I think it's going to be a tough decision. There are so many great floats here. I hope this helps you find your adventure. Thank you for